What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. A few days ago we went to Corvette World in Dallas to get an appraisal on our C4. This is a follow-up video to let you know exactly how it turned out. Now if you hadn't had a chance to go back and watch the first video of going to Corvette World, I highly suggest it. This video will make a lot more sense if you go back and watch that one first. Come on, let's get started. Okay, so Corvette World, took her for a test drive, got her up on the lift, looked for oil leaks, all of kind of the normal things that you would expect a dealership to look over when they're appraising a car. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get right to the big info. They offered me $6,000 for my Corvette. Let me say that again, $6,000 for this big yellow heap. Now, I was really honestly expecting something in the $2,000 to maybe the top of the $5,000 range, because I know that these cars are gonna go to auction and that normally they get bid on. Who knows where they're gonna end up? But the salesman at Corvette World did tell me that this car was in such good shape with its great paint, with this car being in such good original condition, it would actually go into the fleet that they sell, a car that they would sell on their own lot. So $6,000 completely blew me away. If you go and watch some other CarMax videos, you're gonna see prices that go all over the place for these C4s. So I was really happy with that appraisal. Considering that I paid $8,000 for the car originally, a $2,000 dealer hit doesn't seem like that big of a deal to me. Now, obviously, I'm not parting ways with this car. We love this C4, but I thought it was important to know kind of a baseline price of what these C4s are being appraised for. Now, obviously, that price is gonna be way different if I tried to sell it individually on Craigslist or another type of website like Cards and Bids. But I thought it was a great chance to see what a true Corvette dealership would offer me for the car. Now, we also got a chance to take the car to my favorite Corvette repair shop, because we were having some issues with the throttle cable binding and we were having some issues with the windows because the tracks were broken and the windows were shaking back and forth. So as far as a follow-up on that, when it came to the throttle cable binding, they unwound the cable. They could not replicate the actual cable binding. They found a little bit of oxidation on the cable. They sprayed some lubricant on it and made sure that it would not bind up again. Now for that, there was absolutely zero charge. It was a shop that I've used many times before, but it's always awesome to have an honest Corvette shop fix something on your car, or at least troubleshoot it and diagnose it and not charge you a single penny. Now let's go check out these windows, because they did fix those and there was a charge for that. Now, if you guys remember, part of the reason I took the Corvette in to get looked at was the windows, because they were driving me knucking futs. And what they ended up doing was replacing the guides. Now, before they fixed it, the windows were constantly rattling back and forth, and they were starting to leave scuff marks actually on the bodywork, which is no bueno. So they wound up fixing the doors, or I should say the guides on the windows. That was $200. But wait, there's more. Remember, if you like the content of this channel, go ahead and give me a sub. It's free, and hit that notification bell so you can be alerted of the newest uploads to this channel. Now let's get back to the fun. There was separation that was beginning on the inside of the tire. They were telling me that this was a sign of really two things. That A, the tires were unsafe to drive on, and B, this meant the car was severely out of alignment. Now, if you know anything about me, brakes and tires are a huge part of what I like to invest in my collection. So let's talk about the Donkey Kong barrels or the onion that this suddenly opened up once I was told my car was out of alignment. Okay, so with most normal cars, you roll down to Firestone or you go down to your favorite shop and they align it. You know, it's maybe 80, 100 bucks, 120 bucks, that sort of thing. But with the Corvette C4, it is very, very different, and I'm going to explain why. There's something called a shim. Now, I'm not going to get into the real technical aspects of what a shim is, but it's really a slot of metal that kind of looks like a wrench that's been flattened. And they're stacked on top of each other to help adjust either the camber or the caster of your front tires. If you know if it's camber or caster, go ahead and comment below because I don't have that information in front of me right now. So you say, what's the big deal? You just take it down to Firestone, they'll put new shims in it, and you can get it aligned. Wrong. Firestone, Pep Boys, NTB, really any major company that does an alignment no longer offers shim correction. So what do I mean by shim correction? The shim actually has to be inserted and calibrated while the car is being aligned. So you just can't throw it up on a rack and align it and expect it to be perfect, because over time the shims are going to move and bend and flex. The shims on this car were original and they were starting to pull the car out of alignment. Now, after calling about 7 or 8 shops around the DFW area, I was basically told I was SOL. There were no shops that were willing to take on this particular project, which includes putting new shims in at the same time as aligning it. I did find one shop that was willing to do it, but they were actually a track workshop, prepping cars for going out on the track, and their prices were just astronomical. So it wasn't in the budget. But luckily I did find a shop that was willing to take it on. Okay, so the shop that was willing to take it on was Kinney's Automotive, located over in Euless, Texas. Yeah, I like to give a shout out to companies who do me right. Not only were they willing to work on my C4 Corvette, which most shops aren't, but they also had the ability to correct the shims and the alignment all at one time. And they did it all for $155. $155 for an alignment and new shims on the front of the car. I thought this was an absolute steal. Now, after they aligned it, it was a much better tracking car, and I noticed that the steering was improving. But remember, I had been warned about tire separation, so there was one last thing we had to spend some cash on in order to get this Corvette to drive in a straight line. This was the last missing piece of the puzzle. 255/45 17 ZRs made this car absolutely perfect. Once we got the tires off that had the wheel separation, the car now tracks perfectly. You could literally be going down the highway, put the car in a straight line, pop out your favorite novel, maybe it's 50 Shades of Grey, I don't know. Read your novel a few chapters and your Corvette would still be going in a straight line. Now, we've got an upcoming video on these particular tires, so you guys can get a review of these Continental Extreme Contact Sports. They're awesome tires, but I do gotta say, after install, tire warranty, which I use Discount Tire because they are great, it was just south of $500. I think it was about 495 bucks for these 2 front tires. But it's made the world of difference. So this car now tracks perfect. Maybe you've had an issue with getting your Corvette aligned. Maybe you've had an issue with shops not wanting to work on the shims or help you get it in spec. If that's been the case, go ahead and drop a comment below. I'd love to hear about it. Remember, this channel is a resource for you and restoring your C4 Corvette. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video.